Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the main event.
Let's get ready to rumble!
This one by Mattingly. Oh, hang on to the roof.
Montana looking, wrong in the end zone. 5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Little roller up along first, behind the bag. He gets through Buckner. Here comes Knight, and the Mets win it.
Yes, welcome back to Sports and Sorts. This is episode 145. We are getting closer and closer to 150. I can't believe we've done almost 150 of these. That's amazing. But anyway, welcome back to Sports and Sorts. It's Monday morning, an early start to our Sports and Sorts day. We go live on YouTube every Monday at 10, Wednesday at 11, and Saturdays at 10 a.m. You can also find us on iTunes, anywhere podcasts are played. And I am one of your hosts. My name is Shane Moore.
And I'm the Bri Man.
And you can find the show. You can check out our Facebook. Check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/Shane and the Bri Man. Or you can follow the show on Twitter at Shane and Bri Man. It's a start to a new week, our first full week of December. So I am going to guarantee, I'm going to let you guys know now, that maybe not this week, but there is going to be a time where we are going to be playing some Christmas music. And it's going to pop up. It's just going to pop up every once in a while because we both enjoy Christmas so much. But other than that glorious time of year, we got a great show. So let's go.
You are listening to Sports and Sorts with Shane and the Bri Man.
First thing I just have to touch on real quick. This is about last week. I have to throw this out there. Oh man, I'm a winner on so many levels. First of all, I went 2-0 this week, and the Bri Man went 1-1. And on top of that, this is kind of a reverse win for me.
Yeah, you
Bri
picked up
Man's
a game.
Dolphins, the Bri Man's Dolphins beat my Bills, and I'm a winner because
Is that what you call that?
that I'm a winner because that just helps the draft pick situation, especially with Arizona winning another game. And this is all going in the right direction. I'm really enjoying this. The Giants win another game. Yes, keep on winning, guys. Keep on winning. Make that pick get a little bit higher for us.
I sent my brother a text yesterday and said, "Oh, what do you know? Another bad win." And he's like, "Yeah, we've had a lot of those this year."
Yeah.
That is not a phrase you hear very often. A bad win.
Yeah.
It's like saying a good loss. There's no such thing.
Yeah.
A loss is a loss. It sucks. And you would think theoretically there's no such thing as a bad win, but if you're a Dolphins fan, there is such a thing as a bad win. And that was that was 1 of 6 yesterday. Mm-hmm. How this team is 6-10. You know what? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Adam Gase does deserve a little bit of credit because this team is so banged up with injuries. Mm-hmm. I've never seen a team more injured than they are this year. And somehow, some way, they have worked themselves to a 500 record and are actually in the playoff hunt. Do I want them to make the playoffs? Well, I mean, why? What's the point? What's the point? That just prolongs a lot of things. That probably would mean Tannehill gets an indefinite amount of time to see if that ceiling can get any higher.
And Ryan Tannehill.
The mysterious 7-year ceiling that we still haven't really been able to grasp.
Two TDs yesterday. Against a good Bills defense.
He did, yeah. He did throw 3. And he was fine. But look, they're just not a good team. And I don't know. Again, I'll get maybe Gase does deserve a little bit of credit for having this team at 6 wins with all of these injuries. But at the same time, they're just not doing themselves any good because as of right now, they are exactly where I thought they would be. They currently would have the number 15 draft pick.
And that's not.
That's mediocrity.
It's mediocrity. That's kind of what I want for other
Story
teams.
of the Dolphins.
That's what I want for the Dallas Cowboys. All right. So, other than me, picking up a game finally in this. I mean, I have a lot of games to pick up. I really need you to go like over the week is what I really need to happen, and I need to be 100% on that week. So we can hopefully start from scratch here this week. We'll have a game tonight. We can talk about that.
You're running out of weeks though.
I have a feeling we're both going to pick the same game tonight, though. I don't see how there's a chance that we pick a different team tonight. But I was almost 100% accurate on the score. The score.
You were.
It was 33.
Yeah.
The final score was 33-30. I had 30-27.
Yes,
that is
good. Very good.
Really close. Really close. And it all came down to it, like the things that I said about the game. But we're going to talk about the game a little bit later. The other thing I wanted to bring up is that I was supposed to go. I couldn't end up making it, but I was supposed to go to the comedy club with you this weekend.
Yeah, the Hartford Funny Bone.
Yes, the Funny Bone. And to go see a guy that, you and I quote every once in a while, and we also, will hit a clip of his every once in a while, and that's you got to go see what is his name? David Koeckner?
David
Koeckner. That's how you pronounce it.
Yeah.
So you got to see him, and how was he this weekend?
He was tremendous. Both he and his opener, a gentleman by the name of Bob Mayer, were both great. Really, it was a really, really fun show. That was my first time at the Hartford Funny Bone. Pretty impressed. Food was decent. They definitely need to up their beer game a little bit, though. It's very basic. But at least they had some Sam season, so I don't
have that mead with the slight flowers. And
they didn't have the autumnal mead that I was very much desiring. But it was a fun show. His set was probably right around an hour. Wow. His opener was probably in the 20 to 25 minute range. And David was great. He really kind of, he worked the room a lot.
Yeah.
Very interactive set, more so than I would have thought. The only thing that was kind of annoying is that there were a lot of people there who kept talking at their tables, and he actually had to tell them to shut up, which was really great. Yeah. He was admonishing them like an adult would a child, and it was kind of awkward and embarrassing. But he got around to moving to each table. At one point he gets around to these, because he's talking to so many of the women in the crowd, and he starts moving around to the table, and he's kind of looking at all the situations there, and I'm there with Tim, my friend Timmy.
Yeah.
And so it's just me and him, and he gets over to our table, and he's like, "Oh, we've got the beefsteak table here." Of course, if you know anything about urban slang, beefsteak means it's a bro fest. There are no women. It's sans vagina, and that's pretty much So he but he worked around to every table. It was was pretty funny though. So
too bad I didn't go.
Good show. Oh my God! Imagine. Oh God, he would have really been the beefsteak table if there were three of us. But he was fun, and he did Anchorman lines. He did lines from The Office. Yep. He busted out a whammy, and the place went pretty nuts. So it was great. It was great. It was great. Whammy! It was awesome. It was a really good show. I would tell you what, for $20 for him for the show.
Yeah.
I told Timmy, I'm like, let's do this again. This was the place was pretty cool. The food was decent. They get some pretty good comedy acts there. So I think they've got Tommy Davidson coming up sometime soon, and I wouldn't mind seeing him. I loved him in Living Color. So.
Fried chicken and a Band-Aid. Pick it up.
Yeah. You know what's funny though? The Funny Bone stage is so small though. It's just this little brick wall with a little bit of a stage on it. And there's really not a lot of room to maneuver or anything like that. Again, this having been my first time there. And I'll tell you, I'm wondering how a stage like that could hold a guy like Tommy Davidson, who is
so
highly energetic. Yeah. I feel like he'd be jumping on people like Ace Ventura 2 style,
Yeah.
Just kind of dry humping people and stuff. I don't know. It just feels like it'd be really out of control.
He is 30 years older than when we remember him on In Living Color. But I'm sure the dude is still, he's got to have a ton of energy. He doesn't really change that much.
Oh, right. You become physically, your limitations, physically are enhanced, unfortunately. But I feel like mentally he'd probably be the same guy with the same kind of energy. But man, Koeckner was great. Very relatable too, because I did not realize he's got 5 kids. But he told a lot of stories about having 5 kids, and it was so funny because I was laughing so hysterically because I could relate to, having multiple children and just some of the story, having the dogs that bark at nothing. And I'm like, oh my God. I turned to Timmy. I'm like, oh my God, he's talking about Yoda right now. And it was so funny because he was talking about how he's got this one dog who just barks all the time.
Yeah.
And he said the dog is just looking out the window barking at nothing, just like Yoda does. Yeah. And he's like, I imagine that all the dog is saying is, hey, 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 hey. It was so fun. Oh my God, it was great. It was great. And then he's talking about how you've got this sort of this sort of cacophony of sound going on in the house because you've got the kids chirping and the dog going, hey! And the kids want to come into the bed on a Saturday morning. It was great. It was great.
That's awesome.
It was a really good show.
All right. Well, in honor of Mr. Koeckner, we will news team assemble here because it's not breaking news because it broke yesterday, but it is news, new news. Mike McCarthy fired after Green Bay's loss to Arizona. So I have a 2-part question here. We're going to give ourselves about 5 to 7 minutes on this. Was this done at the perfect time? And is there any chance that Aaron Rodgers got Mike McCarthy fired?
Wow. As far as it being done at the perfect time, it's hard to say. This is never actually, the last time this was done, the Packers, I think the last time the Packers fired somebody mid-season was in the 50s.
Yeah.
Or something crazy like that.
Uh-huh.
So, as far as perfect time, I don't know, it's odd timing. I just feel like Mike McCarthy deserved a better fate. And when I say that, I don't mean that he shouldn't have been let go. I mean that he probably should have gotten to play out the year as coach. Yeah. I don't know. I think the funniest thing ever. Oh, by the way, true story. So, because there's obviously a connection to the Dolphins here because Joe Philbin has taken over as interim head coach. Mm-hmm. So, according to Omar Kelly, who is one of the writers who I follow from the South Florida Sun Sentinel, okay, he said in the Dolphins press room, because the firing took place basically right around the time when the Dolphins media was in the press room, getting ready to interview players and coaches. Mm-hmm. The announcement came in that McCarthy was fired. Again, this is the Dolphins press room, okay? So media from all over the state of Florida and some national media probably too. The announcement comes in that McCarthy's been fired and that Philbin is taking over, and he said the entire Dolphins press corps burst out in laughter. Just because, wow, you replaced the Super Bowl winning coach with Joe Philbin? That's what you're doing in the interim? But anyways, listen, we all know Philbin is not long for that gig, right? That's not happening. He's not going to be he is not going to be the head coach there. There's zero chance of that. They're gonna hire somebody, and I'm sure Aaron Rodgers is gonna have a lot of input as to who that is. The timing. I don't. The thing with firing a guy mid-season is you wonder, does it really give you a big head start on trying to hire somebody else? Because chances are whoever you're trying to hire is already coaching, and that person is probably not going to be available for interviews at this point. They could interview, people. If they had done it earlier in the year, they could have interviewed people on bye weeks and stuff like that, and then they could have come to an agreement, and that person would be the new head coach, right. At the beginning, as soon as the postseason ended or whatever. But I don't know that they've really gotten themselves a big head start on anything here, so the timing to me is funky. Now, the other question is, Did Aaron Rodgers have anything to do with this, or did he have say in it? Well, I don't know. Let's put it this way. It happened on Aaron Rodgers' birthday. So the Packers gave him one heck of a present because I think we all know. I don't think it's much of a...
The loss hurt. The firing of the head coach made it a little bit easier.
Made it a little bit better. Yeah, I mean, we all know that there's probably not much love lost there between Rodgers and McCarthy. And that's sad because the two of them won a Super Bowl together. And I'm sure there was a time when they probably liked each other quite a bit. And it was probably then. But I don't know. I mean... They don't like each other. That was obvious. The team has not been playing well. Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback in football. If you had to pick a side with who the Packers organization was going to gravitate towards, I'd say it was pretty obvious it was going to be Aaron Rodgers' side. So did he have an influence in it? Yeah. I think it's safe to say he probably did.
Okay.
I think so.
Yeah, because this is where I'm at. I think that as far as this goes, I think that it wasn't done at the perfect time because I think they should have gotten rid of him weeks ago. I understand why they didn't get rid of him because they still had a shot at the playoffs, but Rodgers and McCarthy have been done with each other for a while. So I would have just moved on and hoped that you can put together a winning streak under a new coach with a reinvigorated Aaron Rodgers. You know, but that didn't happen. So, where we are now, and you have one of those teams that have the first crack at the new head coach. Like you are a team that has the optimal time. Like, we know this. We know that there was a situation before. I'm trying to pause this at the right time too over here. So we know this because we were in a similar situation. The Red Sox were out early, had the first cracks, and they ended up with Alex Cora, and we got saddled with Aaron Boone. Yep. Which to me is still, Brian Cashman. I love Brian Cashman, but this was still one of his weirdest moves. Because that hire was a little head scratching. Never had any coaching experience, yada yada, all that kind of stuff. Well, On top of that, this situation, I do think that you are lending yourself a good amount of time to hire a new coach. There's a lot of good coaches that are going to be coming available. Unfortunately, some of the coaches that you might be looking to hire might be taking a nice ride through the playoffs.
Exactly.
For instance, I could see someone like Josh McDaniels being a good fit there. An offensive coordinator.
I would touch him.
But he's an offensive coordinator, offensive mind that would be going there that could, utilize Aaron Rodgers at his highest capabilities.
But would you hire him after the shenanigans last year with the Colts? I wouldn't touch him.
It doesn't really matter. I mean, if he's going to get,
I think it
wins, does. I don't think it does. I mean, because
it speaks to his character.
But in the Indianapolis Colts, there's a different situation. There, he wasn't sure if Luck was going to come back and play. You're in a situation, you're in a bad situation.
We don't need to revisit that. We talked about that last year.
He was in a bad situation. I would not have done that. You can't renege on that. That's not what good people do. But if you need a proven guy with proven offensive weapon talent, you need to you have no idea. I mean, Aaron Rodgers had bad relationship with everybody in his career. You're talking, you can go all the way back to college, you can go back to the NFL, every coach that he's kind of been on, he's never really had good relationships with. His wide receivers, he typically doesn't, except for Jordy Nelson, that was the only one. His family, he has bad relationships with. He's
a tough guy
life. I mean, I don't know what is going on with him as far as why he's so difficult to be around. But I mean, I would be interested to hear something like what Brandon Blaine, diehard Packers fan, loves the Packers, he loves football. I would like to hear what he has to say. Something, maybe maybe we can get him on sometime soon to kind of talk about that, because I would be interested to see how a Packers fan, reads into all of this, because to me, from the outside looking in, it was a good time. I think they are going to get themselves a decent coach. I think being a little bit early. I mean, as far as Mike McCarthy, where does he coach next? I mean, as of right now, there's the Jets. There's rumors out there that Todd Bowles is going to be out soon. There's the Browns.
He's gone.
The Browns, they're another spot.
Sure.
And I think either one of those spots would be a great fit for him, because he can handle the media in New York, no problem, and he's handled Aaron Rodgers and that whole debacle that's over there. I also think he could handle the ego of Baker Mayfield, because he has had the practice with Aaron Rodgers. And I think that Baker might get a little frustrated with Mike McCarthy and his conservative approach. But I do think that would be the best thing for Baker Mayfield, because he needs to be held in check a little bit. Because if he isn't, games like the Texans that just happened are going to happen, where he has 29 completions for 397 yards with a touchdown and 3 picks. Yeah. And you aren't going to win with that stat line. I mean, you might win in fantasy football, but you're not going to win in real football. That's just not a stat line that you can have. I mean, yes, he threw for a ton of yards, but that's because he was just chucking it everywhere. Yeah. So I think that would probably be the best fit for him. Staying off in the Midwest area and, just having to deal with your quarterback. And he's had success. Mike McCarthy has had success in this league. And I think that would be good for Baker. I think having somebody that can kind of control and, limit what Baker does with the football. Because he's talented, but he's not Aaron Rodgers talented. So
I think one thing is for sure, though. I think you can fully expect Mike McCarthy to get a head coaching job. I don't think he's at that point yet where
unless he decides he wants to go to college and make a buttload of money there.
Well, maybe, but I don't think he's at the. Usually, the way it works for head coaches is they get canned at one job, but then they get another chance somewhere else, and
or
then
they get an offensive coordinator's position somewhere if they can't get a job. Yeah.
See, what I think normally it goes head coach, then coordinator. Once you because I mean, if you look at like a guy like Rex Ryan.
Wade Phillips.
Wade Phillips, exactly. A couple head coaches. They give you another chance. The NFL always gives you another chance, as we know with a lot of players. So you get chances as head coaches too, and then it starts to cascade down into the coordinator area once once people realize, okay, maybe he's not really meant to be a coach anymore.
All right. So let's get into. We're going to head on over.
By the way, how's Joe Philbin going to handle having to be on the sideline again? This is a very rare thing for him. He usually likes to be up in the box. So
he'll still be up there. Throwing flags from the box.
I would say like Joe Philbin is like the equivalent of being able to fill out the SAT. He can put his name on the thing, but other than that, he's pretty useless. So he'll be able to get down on the sideline. But if you're a Packer fan, and look, I know the Packer fans know as much about Joe Philbin as Dolphin fans do. You know exactly what to expect there. Okay. You don't expect a lot more wins this year if that's what you're looking for.
All right. Let's get on to Sunday Night Football. Recap. Chargers 33, Steelers 30. It went from looking like a blowout by the Steelers to a nail biter. But as usual, the Steelers lose because they didn't make adjustments. They had a bunch of stupid penalties, and Mike Tomlin threw a flag at a dumb time. And not just because there was no way he was going to win the challenge, but because if he lost, which he was going to, he was going to lose another timeout, which he was likely going to need that timeout, and he did need that timeout. I honestly don't know if Tomlin can actually win a Super Bowl on his own with his own team. He did it once, but that wasn't his team. I don't know if he can actually do it with his own team. He is so unprepared in key, / big situations. Like the moment is too big for him, and it trickles down to his team. The whole team, including their head coach, they seem like a confused baby and a confused hungry baby in a topless bar. That's what they seem like. Seriously, it's absolutely incredible how bad they are in crunch time.
How long have you been sitting on that analogy?
I don't know, like half hour.
Okay.
So they are so incredibly unprepared in big key situations. It's bad. And they look like they panic and they're frantic and they have no idea what to do. And that comes from the top. That's your head coach. Sure. It's just horrible. It's a really bad situation. Really bad situation. I don't know what to do with that team. I am completely. I mean, I had them going to the Super Bowl this year, and I'm just done with them. Like I'm wiping my hands clean. I'm done. Like they are just not. Their coach is nowhere near as good enough as he needs to be, and their team, they have too much chaos, and they just can't. They cannot win at all. They just can't.
Yeah. No, that's. It's hard to disagree. I wonder if Tomlin's on the hot seat.
I know
they're 7-4-1, but they're probably still going to win that division.
He's got to be on the hot seat just because they should be a lot better. They have the one of the best, if not the best, wide receiver. They have a top 12 quarterback. They have a good running back. They their secondary wide receivers are good. They have 2 decent tight ends. Like their offensive line isn't bad. Like their defense has been playing better, and they still can't seem to win. They can't get out of their own way.
Yeah, and yeah, you're right. And you can't even point to Le'Veon Bell being gone because of how well Connor's been. The production is there.
And then when even Connor got out, they still were able to run.
They still had another guy, yeah. I mean, it's just like a running back factory there. Yeah, because their line is good. So, yeah, it's inexplicable. But you know what? Instead of focusing on just the Steelers, I think we should talk about the Chargers. It's a huge win for them. Huge win for them. I showed a lot about them. That's a gutsy win on the road. You're down huge at the half. You look like you just took like an absolute beating in the first half.
Yeah.
And for them to come back like that, they're also down arguably their best player in Melvin Gordon. Okay, although I guess you could say Rivers. Rivers is really the straw that stirs the drink there. I mean, what a performance last night. Yeah. What a performance by Keenan Allen.
I tell you though, the one thing that they we've talked about Austin Eckler a lot. We've talked about him. Justin Jackson stepped up and he went and he took that secondary role. I think
he looked good.
He should have taken that. That should be right there, showing that he is their secondary, running back.
Yeah.
Instead of
he's solid.
Eckler.
He's solid. But I'll tell you what. Listen, now that the Chiefs, the only thing that sucks for the Chiefs is that they're in the same division as the Chargers are in the same division as the Chiefs. That's the only thing that sucks for them. So they're 9-3.
But the Chiefs almost lost to the Raiders.
They did almost, yeah. Well, I mean,
without Hunt, that's a different team.
That is a very different team. It is an absolutely different team.
I mean, they're not going to be bad. They're all, with Mahomes and Hill and Kelsey and all, they are going to win games. But they are not a 14-2 team anymore.
Here's what I got last night, though, out of the Chargers. I see a team that could maybe go into the Lions' den and beat the Patriots. Maybe. Is it likely?
Do you think that there would be, besides winning a Super Bowl, do you think that there's any other thing that would, be a huge highlight on Phillip Rivers' career? If he goes in there and beats them against the GOAT and this guy who's one of the most competitive people that's in NFL, he goes in there and beats them.
Yeah, that would be a real career-defining moment for him. I mean, to me, that would be tantamount to probably the Red Sox beating the Yankees in 2004. I mean, it's the only difference is there's not like a rivalry there, really, between the Chargers and the Patriots. But in terms of the accomplishment of this guy with his unbelievably amazing career, and he's our modern day Dan Marino. Mm-hmm. He is this generation's Dan Marino. Everything about him is Dan Marino. The big stats, the big arm, the quick release, the fiery competitiveness. Uh-huh. He's the big build like Marino. Yeah. And that's why, for me, I don't
Marino want have 32 kids?
Well, he's got kids with different women out of wedlock. I mean, I don't think Phillip Rivers has that. But
Phillip Rivers is a very religious man, and that's why he has so many kids.
Dan Marino's got 2 or 3 kids with his wife Claire, and then he's got a kid with another woman that's not his wife Claire. I can't believe she stayed with him after that. But anyways, those
isotoner gloves, they'll they'll get.
But anyways, great win for the Chargers. A very season-defining win for them. They are 9-3. That's a good team, man. That's a really good team.
Yeah.
And now they got Bosa back. Mm-hmm. Maybe a little
made some
bit
noise
of
in the second half. Yeah.
Look, that's a team that I think could go into New England and win. But I doubt it, but it could happen. And it could set up that way, too. Because I think right now the Chargers are like the 4 seed. Yeah. So
Ingram and Bosa, you have those 2 guys, and they're going to make some noise.
If they're healthy and Rivers is healthy, they could go into New England. And they're going to, listen, they'd go into New England to score points. That much is for sure.
The only thing that would worry me is because it seems like it's not like it's easy to run on them. But, I mean, James Conner had 60 yards against him last night. He was averaging 4 yards a carry. I mean, Sony Michel could do that. He could do that.
Yes.
And if he gets 20 to 25 carries, you're talking now he's approaching the 100-yard. That will really slow down the clock. Yeah. It'll really give the Patriots to hold the time. But then you have on the other side you have Melvin Gordon and you have Phillip Rivers and he has weapons, and even Antonio Gates made some big catches yesterday. And Allen is a talented wide receiver who they're just going to completely take away. The Patriots would just completely take away him.
Yeah,
and I think they would rather take away him than because if you take away him, you're kind of taking away 2 people. You're taking away Phillip Rivers and Allen. Whereas if they try and just stuff the box and take away Gordon, I don't think it matters as much because they would rather Phillip Rivers just keep checking down to Gordon than, unloading, 12 to 30-yard passes over and over again.
We've mentioned it throughout the season, but it is a real shame that the Chargers don't have Hunter Henry. It would have been that could have been a real big weapon and a difference maker for them, especially going into a game like that where you want to control the clock and you want to keep you want to keep Brady on the sideline. And, that the running game combined with the, that mid-range passing game, and then you've got, Keenan Allen to blow off the top. Yep. It would have been a really great balanced attack. It still sucks, but, But anyways, that's a big win for the Chargers, though, to go into, because the Steelers were pissed after last week, after the loss they suffered last week, and they wanted to get that one back. And the Chargers, and they looked like they had it. They came out, ablaze in that first half, the Steelers, and then the Chargers punched them right back in the mouth and got the win. Mm-hmm. Good for them.
All right, let's we'll stick with football for a little bit. We will head on over to Monday Night Football. This isn't a great game. You have two teams that one is really on their way down, the other one's just trying to keep themselves in the division and fight with the Cowboys to hopefully take over that division. This is going to be rough, but I have the Eagles in this game. I like the Redskins defense, and I know that they can move the ball a little on offense because they did it against the Cowboys, and they're going to move the ball even more against a defense that has been struggling, and particularly the secondary for the Eagles. But when it comes down to it, the Eagles have Carson Wentz and a better quarterback, and the Redskins have a backup with not many options. The Eagles have multiple options to throw to now. They have an abundance of weapons to throw to. I wouldn't say right now there's any clear-cut number one on that team, but they are stacked with like twos and maybe a couple three. Like they just have a bunch of guys that can catch the ball and do yards after catch. The Redskins, I don't think anybody really gives them a big puncher's chance. With Colt McCoy or whoever they decide to suit up as quarterback. But I do think that McCoy will have some decent yards, but I just don't see them. I don't see them winning.
Yeah. No,
I have the Eagles winning 28-20.
Okay, I've got the Eagles 24-16, so we're kind of in we've got the same point differential. Mm-hmm. There's not a lot to talk about here. Yeah. This isn't even much of a game to watch. I'll probably bounce back and forth between that and Monday Night Raw if I'm just not completely on Monday Night Raw. There's the Redskins are just not much of a story anymore without Alex Smith. Not that they were much of a story with him, but they're even less of one without him. I think the biggest question that I have is, what's the over-under in terms of days before, Daniel Snyder's picking up the phone to claim Kareem Hunt.
Yeah, I know, right?
But
especially after that video that just came out, because that video, it was interesting.
It was
the new video that came out where he apologized. It was very interesting. He seemed genuinely sad and upset, but he also
had this weird smirk on his face.
He seemed a little like maybe he was drugged or something. Like I don't know.
Yeah,
it was weird.
Something was off. Yes, there was something off. There was something about his facial expression that bugged me a little bit. The words he was saying sounded solemn, but the delivery was not. It was like a little almost too upbeat. But he seemed, the answers seemed honest. He didn't really seem to dodge anything.
No, he did not. He kind of danced around a couple of questions.
Yeah, he did a little bit. But
he did admit that it was his fault. He wasn't fully honest with the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah. He said he lied to them basically. Mm-hmm. And look, you want to give him credit for it. There's nothing really to give him credit for here, other than he came clean. But the fact that he did this so quickly, that he actually wanted to do the interview, maybe speaks a little bit to him.
I do.
And he mentioned a couple times that this.
I think
what he did was just not how he was raised by his mom and his grandmother.
I do think that this video, he's guaranteed going to be back in the league. And two, it could be as early as this year.
It wouldn't be this year because I think the NFL said he'd actually have to serve at least a 6-game suspension, if not more. So he wouldn't even be able to. He wouldn't even be able to play in 2018.
Well, they haven't set the suspension yet. I don't think.
No.
So, yeah, that's the thing. Is that I think you have to find out what the suspension is before.
He'll play. I have like zero doubt that he'll be playing next year sometime. I would imagine sometime about after halfway through the season, you'll be on Kareem Hunt watch. As far as he'll be somebody will pick him up for sure, and then he'll be that team starting running back in less than a year.
Yep.
Be shocked if in a year from now we're not talking about him having an impact for some other team.
Right. All right. So go on to the game. Did you want to say anything else about?
No. 24-16. That's it. I covered it.
Oh, just 24-16. I thought you said 24-17.
No.
To make sure I have that right. Got to make sure I give the Bri Man 100% credit here.
I don't think there's going to be much credit to be taken from this one. Hey, we could both be wrong, and it would just sort of be like,
all right,
whatever.
Well, now let's get into
Play ball!
There's some possible trades that are likely to happen. I've been keeping a close eye on certain trades and certain things. I mean, last night there was basically saying that Segura he was likely going to be a Philly, and basically overnight they came to an agreement.
Yes.
They came to an agreement. He is going to be a Philly most likely, unless something weird happens.
Yeah.
For prospect J.P. Crawford, which I don't understand because J.P. Crawford doesn't seem to be all that special. He's got he doesn't really have much. I mean,
I love Segura. I was really hoping the Yankees could get him. He would have been a perfect fit.
Segura's he's can steal bases. He's got good range. He can smack the ball all over the field. He's a good player. And the ramifications that could happen because of this trade. I know that you had you had posted in the shared list that we have, the list, which I highly recommend to anybody that's out there.
It's good. I do like it.
It's a very good list, a way to have lists and share lists and stuff like that, grocery lists and like this, for instance, like you're doing.
It's a good little app. It's a good little app.
It is, and it really works out well. And then it pops up a notification saying that somebody modified the list, and I can be like, oh, what did Brian put in here, and I can check it out. Yeah. And on the list, you had put that possibly Manny to the Yankees because of this trade, or do you think the Phillies have a good shot to land Manny, this young star?
To me, I see this more as the Phillies' intention to go hard after Harper now.
See, I think it's more. I think that this is more of. I still think that he could easily land with the Phillies.
So, that'd be a heck of a left side of the infield,
right? And that's what I mean. I mean, you just say we want Manny to play third, and we'll sign because I think that what they did is they probably cleared this through Manny. It was like if we sign Segura to play short, will you play third? Which will of course make us a better team if we shore up the left side of our infield.
It's possible. I mean, it is possible. I see it. I mean, I read the tea leaves maybe as a little bit too Captain Obvious and saying, okay, well, because I think Manny said he would play third only for certain team, and I thought that meant the Yankees. But maybe it applies to Philly and to New York.
Because Manny Machado is
one of the worst
shortstops in the league.
At this point, though, wouldn't you have to say it's a toss-up? He's going to either be a Yankee or a Philly. Don't you think? I mean, unless the White Sox... I mean, the White Sox might offer him a ton of money, but, I mean, my God, if you go to the White Sox, dude...
Yeah. No, he's going to be a Yankee or a Philly. I'm pretty much...
He really is.
Yeah, I mean, that's... And as far as... Manny Machado, I mean, he can catch balls that are hit to him, but he doesn't have any range at short. He is rangeless.
I'd want him at third.
But he's a very good. He's not the best, but he's probably a top 10 third baseman defensively in the league. He's no Anthony Rendon. He's not Nolan Arenado. He's not even Bregman. I think is probably better than him.
I'd want him at third if it was me.
Yeah, I mean he is a very, very good third baseman. He makes amazing plays over there. His talents are best suited at third. Whereas short, he's if he goes to a team and he plays short there, that's good for the teams that are playing against him because he doesn't have any range. But I don't know. I really felt like this was kind of a good idea for the Phillies and be like, dude,
sure.
Unless they decide to shift Segura to second, he can play second.
They could.
But that would be, and then you would be shoring up your middle infield. But I really think that you're weaker at that point in time because he's not a good shortstop. and that's unfortunate for them. But he is going to put up astronomical numbers. He will put up numbers that he will not put up anywhere else, except for if he went to
Philly?
Cincinnati. If he goes to Philly, he's going to put up 40 bombs, 130 RBIs, and he's going to bat 300 with an on-base percentage of about 350.
He'd probably win an MVP.
370. There's very good chance that he could win MVP there. I mean, he could do it anywhere. He's that talented of a player.
Oh, sure, the talent's
but there, he's going to put up numbers that are just
monster numbers.
Yeah.
Monster numbers. Yeah, I don't know. I saw it, and my first thought, my very first instinct was, oh my God, he really is gonna be a Yankee. But who knows? You could be right. You could be right. I hope you're right. I really don't want to. We've said this already a number of times. I don't want that guy anywhere near New York. I really just don't. But you know what? What's encouraging from a Yankee perspective is that, before I get to that, one thing that does disturb me a little bit, though, is that they showed a little, you may have seen this, I think, on Yankees Hot Stove, but Jack Curry was interviewing Brian Cashman, and Cashman made it very clear that he's not holding any of what Manny Machado did in the postseason or said in the postseason against him at all. Now, that's probably just being smart on his part, because obviously if you have any intention, but let's be honest, what that shows you is that the Yankees are clearly in on him in some way. They are absolutely positively in on him.
The worst case scenario, they're just trying to drive up the price.
They are vetting that. They're going to vet that situation intensely. He is going to talk to Hal. He's going to talk to Cashman. There's going to be there's going to be a lot going on there, without a doubt. And it's all good. I'm telling you right now, this is going to be one of the more prolific winter meetings in history. And Cashman even said the other day, we have a lot of work to do with the winter meetings, which if you're a Yankee fan, you should be excited about that, because that means there's just a lot to come.
Yeah. When do they start?
December 9th.
December 9th.
This coming Sunday.
Because we are going to be taking some time off. Around the holidays, we're going to take some time off. And of course, if something huge pops up,
we'll pop on.
We will pop on. But
we might do a winter meeting show.
We could possibly do that. Maybe have Corelli on. Maybe bring Damian on. We could possibly do something like that. Because we are going to take some time off around the holidays. Likely, what's going to happen is we're going to be taking off probably the 19th, and then coming back maybe the 26th. At the latest, we'll come back the 29th. So we're going to be taking some time off around the holidays. We're going to figure out our schedules and everything like that, because we want to enjoy the holidays with our family. We don't have to take time away to prepare for this and all that kind of stuff. We'll keep in top contact, and if something happens, like something huge pops up, and, on the 19th, if we decide not to do it, then we will do it. We'll come on. Maybe even like the 22nd or something like that. That might be kind of a designated time to really see what's going on. But any time during that week, the 19th and 22nd, if something huge does pop up, or if there's a bunch of things that kind of happen, we could obviously come on and talk about it a little bit. So we'll do that if something like that pops up. But that's good, because if the winter meetings start on the 9th, that means that whole week, there's a chance that stuff could really not transpire until the week after, which that would be that week, but that we're going to be taking off. But we will be here Monday. We'll be here for the 17th, and then there's a chance that we'll be here for the 19th. But we'll keep you informed on all that and let you know what time we're taking off.
But I expect these winter meetings to be extremely active for the Yankees. I think you're going to hear the Yankees name a lot. I'm going to be glued to the MLB Network. I have apps, and we're going to MLB trade rumors and all that stuff. We're just going to be like. It's going to be refresh. The MLB app that I have that just keeps popping up with stuff that's going on, and checking Twitter and all these different Heyman and everybody else, Rosenthal and everybody that's popping up with all these trades. We're going to be keeping a close eye on all of them. So, is there anything else, any other trades or anything that you want to talk about before we just one other, maybe just to kind of close the books on the Robinson Cano deal. The one thing that kind of occurred to me over the weekend was, again, we talked about it last week, or we talked about it on Saturday. I mean, I don't think it's a bad trade, but I'm starting to wonder if the Mets just wanted a second baseman and a relief pitcher, they could have done this a lot easier than going after Cano and absorbing a lot of money from that contract. I mean, they got Diaz.
They're only paying him between 12 and 15 a year, though.
No, I know, but but you're still taking on a ton of money. Like, there were so many second basemen and so many relief pitchers available in free agency this year. You could have done this without the headache of Robinson. Now, I know you got Diaz.
Yeah.
But you know what? Diaz's arbitration years aren't going to be cheap either. I mean, he's got like 3 of them, which is great. But dude, he's good. If he puts up the kind of numbers in New York that he put up in Seattle,
yeah,
you can expect his arbitration numbers to be through the roof. I mean, he'll set arbitration records. You know, because I mean that would be like Mariano Rivera getting to arbitration.
Yeah,
you know, so. At least in terms of production. So, I don't know. I mean, the Mets are going to be assuming a lot of salary here. Like I said, Diaz is going to get paid over those arbitration years without doubt. And you know what? You got to pay Cano for the next 5 years. And you know how bad the last 2 or 3 years of that contract are going to be, too. So, I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying it wasn't a necessary move. Like, they could have filled those 2 gaps in free agency and probably come out spending a lot less money and having to deal with a lot less scrutiny than they are. But I don't know. We'll see.
As of right now, I mean, you're talking, you have Cano, who's going to play, you have Diaz, you have Thor, you have...
Let's just say the jury's out on that trade still. Yeah. And will be. It will be for a while. It's not a slam dunk.
If Cano puts up his normal numbers, which is like 300, 15 to 22 home runs, 90 RBIs, and wherever they play them, whether they play in the first or second.
If Cano puts up his numbers, Diaz saves 40+ games, and the Mets make a wild card or something this year, huge success.
Oh yeah, I mean
wildly success.
The Mets fans would be going bananas.
Yeah. I just think you could have saved these prospects, utilized free agency to fill those other gaps, and use these prospects for somebody else.
Yeah, their prospects are just not very good though.
Yeah, I know they're not great, but
I mean, as of right now, they're still even with this good move, they're still like a fringe playoff team. They're not like, there's a chance that they could, if Thor doesn't throw 32 starts next year, they're in bad shape. If Matt can't throw 30 starts, and all these guys, they need all of their guys to really go. And now they have Diaz, which is great, but they need to fill the gap between the starters and him, because it's not that they still don't have a ton of offensive power. I mean, Cespedes obviously coming back will be helpful, and hopefully healthy. He can stay healthy for a full year.
And now you'll have Cano and Cespedes in the middle of that lineup, which is not horrible. Solid. And then Conforto.
Yeah, Conforto, if he can come back and be the player he was a couple years ago before he got
hurt. That's a solid, core of your lineup there.
Yeah, 100%. I couldn't agree more. Here.
Oh, here we go. Oh, Andy Williams?
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful. Very nice.
That's good stuff. I guess the one thing that I did want to talk about, other than that, is...
Other than Andy Williams.
Yeah, other than Andy Williams right now. But I wanted to talk about, just on the way out, it's the Tyson Fury fight.
Oh, yeah.
Where I should be playing American Pie right now. Because, so there was this one clip where he gets knocked out, he gets decked in the face, hits the ground, and is on his back, and then you see him kind of like the guy he's fighting, which is I can't pronounce his. I don't remember his name, but you see him. He's coming back, and he's giving the shimmy, and he's all fired up, and he's and then all of a sudden you see that you have to see him pop up, because he pops up kind of similar, not exactly like the Undertaker, but he kind of popped up. I would have
really had respect for him if he had popped up like the Undertaker.
If he just sat up and then and then rolled over and then kind of looked. He didn't really have the time to do that. But he sat up and then you see the guy kind of and then all of a sudden he's like, and then he's like, oh man, all right, let's go. But it was really funny. And then after it was all said and done, press conference happens and they're asking him about the fight and talking to him, and he just busts out and starts singing American Pie. And has everybody in the media singing and going along and everything. It's this is a guy who dealt with a lot of depression. He obviously gets punched in the head a lot, and he's had some mental instability, issues. And he seems like he might have conquered that, and that's amazing. And it's now that they're hoping to get a rematch.
Well, I think you need to have a rematch, because this was a controversial decision too, because I think a lot of people think Fury should have won.
Right, it was a controversial draw. Yeah. So it was very interesting, and I don't know. It was all.
Well, what was weird was I think one card was definitively for Fury, and one card was pretty definitively for the other guy, and then the other one was a draw.
Yeah.
And it was like.
Yeah, there was a lot of memes going on. Like you see that thing where Trump is at like signing stuff, and he looking over the shoulder of one guy and looking over the shoulder of the other guy, and then finishes signing.
Right.
Like, yeah, this is the judge at
like
the
cheating
event
on a quiz,
yeah,
basically. Yeah,
exactly. It was pretty funny. But that's it for our show today. Thank you guys for listening, watching, however you took this in. You can find us on Facebook.com/Shane and the Bri Man. You can find us on Twitter @Shane and Bri Man. And we are all over, anywhere podcasts are played. Particularly, you can go to our website, www.sportsandsorts.libsyn.com. And you can find me on Twitter @EinhornIsFinkel.
You can find me on Twitter at @the_Bri_man.
And we go live every Monday at 10, Wednesday at 11, and Saturdays at 10. But we will keep you up to date. So give our Facebook page a like, and we will kind of keep you up to date on our status around the holiday season as we go. But when we're not live and we're not doing stuff for that kind of 7 days or so, the best place to find out what we're doing and when we're going to be doing it is going to be our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Shane and the Bri Man. So give that a thumbs up and follow us there. And also, if you haven't already, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. We are trying to grow this. This is a new thing for us, so we're trying to grow it. And the only way we can do it is with help from you. So thank you guys for listening and watching, and we'll see you again soon.
Thanks for listening. Stay classy, Planet Globe.
Stay classy.
Whammy!
Whammy! I miss your musk.
It's the pancake breakfast.